Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates.
Let's not wait for the cops, because they will come at their leisure. It is better to finish the post-mortem, okay, and the embalming. Once the body is embalmed for about 10-12 days, no problem. We will have a coffin box ready, okay. So let's go ahead with the process today itself, okay. Otherwise, we will be at the mercy of the police constable again tomorrow. So let's not delay this process. Let us finish the embalming. Let us take the handover of the body in our hands.
At this moment, we are in Bengaluru in an ambulance that is meant to ferry the bodies of those who die from COVID. Remember, one of the big problems has been that even families are sometimes too scared to perform the last rites of their own loved ones. This is when volunteer groups of the kind that we're traveling with, and this group is called the Mercy Angels, step in. This is a group of friends, and I'm going to introduce them one by one. There's Ibrahim here, there's Naveed here, and there's Tanveer here, and they've all bunched together with their team to help say goodbye to people across religions, across communities, across classes. And like I said, जब कोई भी एक बॉडी को छूने के लिए तैयार ना हो, sometimes people's own families, this is when groups like them, the Mercy Angels, step in. Let me start with you, Ibrahim. You actually own a chain of restaurants called Beijing Bites. What made someone like you, step in and volunteer at a time like this?
See, we saw the kind of distress that was happening amongst around us. So this was a time that we had to step in for humanity. So we stepped in and we started doing all that we could, because this is our city. We can't see our city going to dogs. We had to step in and do the best we can to make things a little easier and better for the people who are suffering.
But it must have been scary. I'm sure you were exposing yourself to the risk of COVID. How many of you have tested positive?
Well, I tested positive. My entire family tested positive, including my mom, who's 78, my wife, my kids. My youngest kid is 2.5. So we were all positive at one point of time.
Did the family ever ask you ki bas karo aake?
Every day.
And then?
But they know that I can't stop myself from doing it, because the situation demands it, that we have to step in. If not we, then who? Somebody has to do it.
Now, some really, really painful endings have been observed by this group of volunteers. And I think among the most painful things you've had to do is to bury a stillborn baby. And we were just at Raghu's house, and Raghu told us how he considers all of you his brothers. Can you talk about that moment when you actually had to bury a child, a yet to be born child, a 6-month fetus, really?
Yeah, it was a very emotional moment. It was this was the second time I have done. Earlier, a few months back, I had done of a four-month-old fetus. It was a stillborn child, and it was very emotional.
And Raghu was saying that he didn't have the strength, and so he really counted on you all. Does that happen a lot? A family just loses the will. It's not just always prejudice that they're scared. They sometimes don't have the strength.
When you are in the situation, you may be the bravest person, but your mind stops working. It's at that time without emotion, we are able to judge, we are able to suggest, we are able to do things for them, which because of the situation that they are in, they're unable to do.
Talk a little bit about how Raghu's baby and his wife both died. How do you all cope with something so painful? And what happened? He found you and you took his child then to the burial ground, because babies are not cremated. His wife was cremated. You helped with that also.
Yeah. So I got a call in the evening, pretty late in the night, and they said, please come and take the infant. So it was very difficult emotionally to go there, and I asked Raghu, what do you want? He said, don't burn my baby.
He said that,
yeah,
because I think there's also a tradition to not burn very little children, though of course you did help with his wife's cremation.
Yeah, so he said, don't burn my baby, bury it. You bury it in a Hindu burial ground or a Muslim burial ground, I don't care, but please bury my baby. So I went and kept it in the freezer, where we keep the bodies. I kept it overnight. Next morning, I took it to the Hindu burial ground and we buried it over there.
So the baby was kept overnight in a Muslim burial ground and then taken to a Hindu crematorium?
Yes, because the Muslim burial ground has a freezer. So I requested them to give me space for the night, where I kept the fetus. And next morning, we took it to a Hindu burial ground and finished the...
How did that make you feel to do it?
It wasn't easy, because we've seen this in the past. A stillborn child, 6-month-old, but then it had to be done.
What are some of the most painful things that haunt you, that you have witnessed? The babies, of course, but other
Yes,
than...
apart from that, I have seen a number of people die of the very same family. There was on one particular day, it was the 25th of May, wherein I've got 5 calls to ferry the deceased and do their last rites, and for all of them, I had done the burial either a day earlier or a couple of days or max 3 days earlier. So it was either the second member of the family or the third member of the family.
So entire family is being wiped out.
There are a few more. I mean, one of the daughters is still in the hospital. There were 4 of them of one family, and 3 members passed away. 2 of them on single day.
So painful.
Yes.
What I want to know is how does something like this not change all of you? It must be scarring you also.
See, death is reality. Okay, we there are things which are beyond our control, and given the situation, what best we can do for the family is what we do. And yes, certain things, certain like incidents he said. I know of another case where family of 4. Father, mother, daughter and son. 3 people have been wiped out. There is only 1 surviving son. So all in a span of 1 week, they all passed away. You feel bad. If you lose 1 member, and that too an aged member, it's fine. But in this second wave, we found that many youngsters below 30, some at below 40 are losing out. And then when you see a parent dying, okay, and he's got little kids, you feel sad. When you see a youngster dying and his aged parents being alive, you feel sad at that moment. But there is nothing we can do.
Yeah. Now, we're at the back of an ambulance, and that's why it's noisy as it goes through the roads of Bangalore, but hopefully you can hear all of them clearly. Just tell us a bit about your backgrounds. We know about Ibrahim, that he runs a restaurant chain. What about you?
Pardon me?
What did you do when you're not volunteering?
I was positive twice.
No. What did you do professionally when you're not volunteering?
Okay, I have a business. I do fabrication and interiors.
Okay. What about you?
I'm a recruiter and a full-time activist.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell us a little bit about this ambulance, because of course this is not an ambulance to save patients. This is an ambulance to carry bodies. So it's configured a little differently. So tell us a little bit about what all goes in this ambulance.
So we have 2 stretchers. One is the collapsible stretcher and one is the regular stretcher, along with which we have this another stretcher with wheels which you can wheel it out. So this has taken probably more than 500-600 dead bodies.
So this particular stretcher, you want to just talk about it before we got on? You were looking at this stretcher and you were telling me about it.
This stretcher has seen aged, it has seen young, it has seen men, it has seen women, it has seen people across communities. So this stretcher would have seen almost everybody.
And community differences and religious differences become so irrelevant at a time like this.
Yes, it is. They don't matter. And this vehicle in particular, across the cremation centers, it is famous because we generally carry two bodies. We were able to help two families. Where you are sitting right now, we would tie up one more body, and this stretcher will have another body.
So basically, where we are sitting typically would carry one body, and then this stretcher here. And I think the powerful point being made is that this stretcher by itself has probably ferried about 600 bodies without any notion of who belongs to which religion or which group. How has this whole experience transformed all of you? What is something you learned about yourselves and about life that you never thought you'd see in your lifetime?
Well, the first thing we realized, the realization hit us straight that, life is not permanent. I mean, we think of so many things. We think of buying a house, a car, and this and that, and we just see people going just like that. So we just realized that, live for the day.
Yeah, live for the day. What about you?
Yes, I would say that we were all divided before this pandemic. We were all divided on religious lines, but I'm sure this has brought all of us together.
Yeah, and if it hasn't, then I mean, shame on us if it hasn't, right? I'm also seeing at the back, if the camera can go there, there's white cloth that's obviously for the bodies in their last moments. You want to just tell us about this cloth?
See, what happens is in the burials,
yeah.
Okay, so we have to lower the body. So we take length cloth and we crisscross it and we leave it. with dignity, and then we try to see that it wraps over. So we use this cloth, and not just the ambulance, even this cloth is free.
And how do you all raise funds?
We raise funds, we pool in funds actually.
All of your own money?
We pool in funds, and there are some people who'd like to contribute, they contribute a little, but apart from that, most of it is all pooled in.
What's the toughest thing, what is the toughest thing you're going to take away from this? Apart from mortality.
The toughest thing is we see people who are not able to clear their hospital bills. We see a lot of poverty. We see poverty is hitting us in the face, literally. We see middle class people who've turned really, really poor and who are practically on the streets. That's very difficult to bear. We see the orphans who've lost both their parents. Now that's difficult, and we need to set up centers where we need to take care of them emotionally more than anything else. Financially and everything, yes, but even emotionally, because they don't know what has suddenly hit them. Like this afternoon, I was just seeing that message where there are twins who are infants and they've lost their parents.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking. There's tragedy everywhere, but sometimes from tragedy spring moments of humanity, moments of hope. And certainly this group of volunteers, the Mercy Angels, really represent that. They also bring home the nonsense that is the Hindu-Muslim divide, or any other religious divide that sometimes, if you're on social media, you feel it's much more amplified. But when you come on the ground, I think there's a reminder here that people in the end are bound by human bonds, and this is why the people whom this group has helped, and I've met some of them, they call this group of men sitting here with me their brothers, and that's what happens. It's everything in life is not about blood. Relationships sometimes run deeper than that, and that is really this little sliver of silver lining in the midst of these dark clouds. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.